you guys? It's Antonio here. Today we have a huge update for real estate agents in California. The Department of Homeland Security has just put out a memorandum talking about the different essential workers and different essential jobs and functions that are going to be listed in those categories. I think there's about 10. And in California, now real estate agents and people in the real estate services and those industries fall into that category, which means that we can resume, our job duties, but no open houses should be held according to the National Association of Realtors, and they should be done virtually, when possible. That way you're still obviously able to show the home to the person. Now, I have the memorandum here, and I'm going to be going through all of the different real estate services, and I'm basically going to read it kind of word for word because I don't want to skip out on anything that, or anybody that might be watching, property managers and whatnot. But, we have an issue right now, which is, in general, before this, we were kind of at a crossroads where we have the new money and, people, for example, in the Bay Area, 20 to 30 years old, making $200-300 grand a year, they go to purchase a home in this particular situation that happens right now, or if they were to be purchasing a property from here and they want to buy over in New York or vice versa, New York over to here because they're making about the same amount of money, then they may be okay with the VR if they, were not able to see the property in person. And now in this particular situation where they really can't go do an open house, they really may be okay with it. Now I think with this going on, it says no open houses on the NAR website, but I'm pretty sure that means we will be able to do private showings now. Now, whether or not that's a good thing, that's going to be up to your personal opinion on whether or not you think people should be going into other people's homes with all this going on, and that's going to be a personal opinion, but I'm pretty sure that private showings are going to be okay. Open houses, no. But anyways, we had that crossroads where the new money might be okay with VR and whatnot, but we still have, the majority of home purchasers across the US are going to be beyond 30, right? So a lot of them are probably not going to be okay with VR and not seeing, touching, feeling the home, without being there. So this may change a lot, by making the real estate agents an essential service, but it also might not, because if nobody wants to buy it because they can't see the home, then it's not going to matter. But hopefully the private showings are okay. I think it's going to take a few days for the kind of details to trickle out, because there is the memorandum here talking about the essential services, but it's kind of ambiguous. It doesn't give you the specifics saying, hey, you can go do private showings, hey, you can go do this. So I'm gonna wait and see if I can get those details and get that to you guys, just to be 100% for sure. I think they purposely left it kind of ambiguous. That way there's no liability or anything they have to worry about. It's just like, oh, you're essential, just follow the health and safety guidelines, but we're not gonna specify what they are. But anyways, what we fall under as real estate agents is other community or government-based operations and essential functions. So in that, you have electricians, you have the federal judicial system, federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial employees, weather forecasters, clergy for essential support. And what I've seen basically from looking through all these lists of things, I'm like, wait a second, like, what isn't in here? The only thing I could think of was, I was like, okay, I guess barbershops aren't in here. But I mean, everything else that I was doing before, I'm still technically able to go do pretty much right now. I mean, I'm going to get food, if I don't want to cook here. It has to be takeout though. And yeah, I mean, and then you're able to go to the store, you're able to go to Target, Safeway, whatever. So, and then I have another job that I do, and the entire facility got labeled as essential as well, because it's with revolving around hazmat and all that. And I'm like, it's just funny. I'm kind of like, I'm like, what isn't going to be deemed essential? But anyways, in here we also have educators, and then where we would be is right here That's going to be tiny. You're not going to be able to see it. But it says residential and commercial real estate services, including settlement services. So that's what I believe we would fall under. And then for the miscellaneous people, you know, property managers and what have you, we have residential, shelter, facilities, and services. Residential / shelter facilities and services. So I'm going to pretty much read this word for word, so it might be a little bit boring. But for this, we have workers in dependent care services in support of workers and other essential products and services. That one's kind of a little bit, like I said, ambiguous. I don't really know what that would specifically be. Workers who support food, shelter, and social services. Okay, so social workers, people at homeless shelters and what have you, and needy groups and individuals. Yeah. Workers in animal shelters. So I volunteer at the animal shelters on Monday. They closed down the pet store part, which is where I was volunteering at, so I'm not going to be there, but they are running all the other facilities. You have workers responsible for the leasing of residential properties to provide individuals and families with ready access to available housing. So that's going to be people that are helping buyers go out and, you know, get their rental leases. So real estate agents that are doing that are going to be categorized as essential. And then we have workers responsible for handling property management, maintenance, and related service calls, who can coordinate the response to emergency at-home situations requiring immediate attention, as well as facilitate the reception of deliveries, mail, and other necessary services. Yeah, so typically when you have, I think it's over 20 units in like a commercial property, like apartments, you have to have at least like one property manager on site. So that, you know, according to this and from what I think, is going to be deemed an essential position, which they would have been there anyways, because they usually give them a unit to live in and they have to stay on site like 24/7 to be able to respond. So people that are property managers on site and people that are property managers off site are now going to be deemed essential. And then we have workers performing housing construction related activities to ensure additional units can be made available to combat the nation's existing housing supply shortage. Now that is huge because, yeah, we have not been building enough across the US, across the board. Now we're missing out on some supply chains and we're not going to have as much building supplies. And unfortunately too, these workers, you know, not only are the healthcare workers getting sick, but since everybody's freaking out and going and purchasing way more masks than they need, the construction workers that are in these houses with asbestos and, you know, all of these nasty particulates that could very easily give them cancer are not having adequate access to masks. And yeah, that's not good. Now, we also have workers performing services in support of the elderly and disabled. Okay, so yeah, for example, my girlfriend, she works in the kitchen at one of the nursing facilities, and so that's an essential service. She's been working through this. And then workers supporting the construction of housing, including government functions related to the building and development process, such as inspections, permitting, and plan review services that can be modified to protect the public health. Okay, so that one seems like it would actually fall under my mom because she's a fire investigator, so or inspector, so she has to go around and inspect all the buildings. So that's another thing that would be labeled underneath the essential functions. But yeah, that's the quick update for you guys today. Let me know if you have any other information, if you have any other questions you want me to look into, and I'll see you next time.